Hi, it's your girl Tasha Fuller, publisher, author, self-publishing coach. I am here talking to you a little bit about writing. I told you that this was going to be a series on how to become self-published, and what I want to do is offer you a little bit of motivation and education. A lot of people was like, how did you become an author? I started writing. In my previous video, I talked to you about becoming a self-publishing author, and the first step that you had to do, and it's actually writing. And people sometimes are like, well, what do I write? How do I start writing? You just start with pen to paper. To talk a little bit about the process, usually for me, it's about inspiration. What is inspiring me? I'm a stay-at-home mom, in addition to everything else that I do. But my kids inspire me. So I start writing about my kids. And people are like, what in the world? How do you come up with such great stories that provide so much detail? Because my life is full of adventures with my children, whether it's bath time baby, or mommy, I want to be a princess, or little Freddy's in the zone, or mommy, I want to dance, or making the squad, or daddy, I'm scared. These are all life stories for me. Every story has a little bit of fiction, has a little bit of fact, because it's all based on someone's perspective. And for me, even though my books are fictional, they are based in reality. My life is a reality show. So when I sit down and put pen to paper, I think about my kids and how that works. Like, okay, so what did my kids ask me for today? My daughter Amira is a huge source of inspiration because she's always asking me for something. Mommy, I want. Mommy, I want. Mommy, I want. So my first book about Amira was Mommy, I want to be a princess, because she dressed up in princess gown. She's a diva. She was wearing high heels at 2. Did you even know that they made high heels for little 2-year-olds? Well, they do, wedges. And she wanted to do all of this, and one day she said, Mommy, I want to be a princess. And I said, Amira, you're already a princess. She didn't believe me. And I said, your name literally means princess. Amira means princess. And she's like, no, Mommy, I want to be a real princess. And that was the start of the book. Mommy, I want to be a princess. And for me, in writing, I'm trying to do 2 things. I'm trying to educate, I'm trying to entertain. I guess there's 3 things. And then I'm trying to teach some type of life lesson. And especially with children, I always want to put a character development moment in a book. What can you learn from this process? It's not just about entertainment, but what lesson can I sneak into the book so that kids can understand the reason behind me writing the book. It's great to write a book for entertainment, but I'm taking the opportunity to educate. And so some of the things that I do personally to write a story is usually God divine concept. Oh, that's going to be a good story. So I have Mommy, I want to be a princess for Amira, Mommy, I want to dance for Amira, and making the squad. And all of those things are about things that she wanted to do and how I approached them. And so Mommy, I want to be a princess, I was like, okay, this is going to be about kindness and compassion. At the end of the day, all of these little girls want to be a princess, but we have to really teach them to be kind and compassionate, because servitude is a life of royalty, right? And so too much is given, much is expected. So I wanted to make sure that I focused on servitude. And so she had to learn to share and be kind to people and make people feel good about themselves, regardless of what she had going on in life. I know that may be a lot for a children's book, but I was able to weave it in, and it was able to work. Same thing with Mommy, I want to dance. She wanted to do something in life, and just like in the other video, if you want to be an author, just start writing. She wanted to do something in life. She wanted to become a dancer. But one of the things that I teach my kids is, if you want to do something, just do it. Don't do it because somebody else is doing it. Do it because you want to. And so the lesson that I had to teach in that lesson is to stick-to-itiveness. Sometimes people are doing things and you're like, oh, I want to do that, but you figure out in the process that that's not really for you. So the way that I write children's books, they may not be how someone else does it. It's how I do it. I write children's books about my kids, who happen to be African American children, and their experiences. Now, every African American child is not going to relate to my child's experience, but an African American mother relates to seeing their kids in books and being able to tell a story that their kids can relate to. So even when I wrote Making the Squad for Amira, it was about her overcoming someone trying to bully her, and her having a goal that no one was going to stop her from getting to. So there's all sorts of things that you can write about. Some of the key tips that I would say for writing is, again, put pen to paper and just start writing. The story will come to you. And even if you have a concept, you don't have to have it all written out. I've started writing chapter books, and some of it is real life, some of it is my real life, my children's real life, some of it's somebody else's real life, and then some of it is just something I want kids to enjoy and to learn about. Always have a thesaurus. A thesaurus is like your synonyms, your antonyms. Use descriptive words. Like when you're writing, people can't see the picture. I've learned that from going to picture books to chapter books, is that you have to be as descriptive as possible. You got to break it down to the lowest common denominator so people can understand and enjoy your writing. You can't just say the cat sat on the ground. You have to say it was raining outside and there was a fat cat wandering around, and then finally he found a spot right under the awning and sat there for a while just enjoying the rain. Whatever you're gonna write, it's like you just gotta be entertaining and descriptive, and remember to use your thesauruses. If you're gonna write in patterns, I write in patterns when I write in pictures books, like so rhyming words. Know the different stanzas. I mean, it's not rocket science, and you don't have to use traditional writing techniques, but just do something that's consistent and it makes sense to the reader. Like, does somebody want to read your book? And so when you start reading, just make sure that you have you create a process for yourself. I'm writing a book right now, and I used to, for the first probably 3 weeks, get up at 6 o'clock in the morning, 5 o'clock in the morning, and I just start writing because it's my quiet time, and I feel like I'm most productive in the morning. I work with clients who one of my current clients right now, she says, I have to clean the house, I have to cook dinner, I have to meditate, and then I can sit down and write. If that works for you, that's what you need to do, because we all have our OCD moments, and we need to be peaceful when we're writing, or we need to be inspired. And that's how she, centers herself, and she is able to get her process going. And sometimes it's not going to work. Sometimes you're going to have writer's block. Just put it down and keep a notepad with you, whether you're writing on the computer or traditional pen to paper. I do both. I have notebooks all over the place because I'm inspired to write something, or I have pieces of paper all over the place, and I'm writing to inspire. I also use the notes section in my phone. That takes a little longer because my fingers don't move as fast as my hands do when I'm writing. I've had clients who've written books over years, and they were like, oh, I wrote this piece back in 1999, and I'm like, okay, and it's really, really, really good, but it just took time for them to put a collection of works together that they felt confident enough to share. And so as a writer, we're sensitive because we're artists too, and don't be afraid to share your work. Don't be afraid of judgment, because someone is going to love it. Someone's going to love it, someone's going to buy it, and then some people are going to buy it and never read it, and that's okay. But what you want to do is that you want to take the first step, and you want to start writing your story. Like I said before, everybody has a story to tell, and somebody wants to write it. So make sure that you create a process for yourself. Start writing, and don't be afraid. Use your thesauruses, use historical facts, use current events, use your imagination. Everybody can be a writer if you want to. And so make sure that you take your time, get your process together. And remember, I'm Tasha Fuller, publisher, author, self-publishing coach. I'll see you next time.